put it back slightly. Get a little, slightly better view of the pins. Not by a ton. Yeah, they fixed the live streaming again. I was going to live stream when I did duck pin bowling, but per usual, YouTube finds a way to fix things so they don't work. But then again, it was probably best not to anyway. I kind of had things to do. But anyway, it's Memorial Day weekend here in the United States. In fact, it's Memorial Day itself. And typical of any major holiday in the United States, I'm going to do some candlepin bowling in the basement here at everyone's least favorite place, Grant Street Candlepins. And per usual, we do 5 elevating adventures. Hello. So 5 games in the basement. And then after the 5th game is the high-low mega jackpot, where it's the 1, 7, and 10 pin. 1 ball. Knock them all down. Done that twice. TNC Bank and Trust will pay 50 cents. So let's... All right. Separating stuff here so we can pull things apart as we need to. All right. It's a nice day outside, so I got the windows open. Well, door as open as I can because I need to kind of go back and forth. All right, so, and James EW, hello. Hello to you as well. All right, anyway, let's get the game going. First game, frame and ball 1. Can we actually get a strike? It's been about a year and a half since we've thrown one here. Anyway, here we go. We're off to a flying start. I'm going to be stupid and go for broke. Being that the pins are much closer, we can afford to try it. And that's why you generally don't. Or off to a horrible start. Alright, this is dangerously close. That needs to move. That's better. All right, as per usual, I will, once I show you the halftime and the end of the game, I'll check the comments. Frame 2, hopefully better than frame 1. Exactly the other way now. That's much better. All right, let's see if we can throw a decent first ball. And yeah, if I throw these a little too close to each other, they can make the ramp, but then just fall off when it's hitting the other balls. I have a feeling this whole thing is going wonky towards the right anyway. I have to rework this ball return. All right. Two ways to go about it. I could hit the wood in front on the left side, or hit the wood that's next to the 4-pin on the right, which I think I'm going to go and do. Or miss altogether and the wood helped you out anyway. Alrighty, it's time for El Stinko the bonus ball. Will it help us kind of right the ship from the first frame there? Not really. 4-7, that's a 3-fill. Well, get an 8 out of it. Yeah, definitely thing needs some rework. All right, 5th frame. Well, almost 10. So at the end, after 5 and we reset, we show you the score. At the end of the game, we reset and then show you the score. And now the halftime report. Nice start. Then we got the 10. Now we got the spare and an 8. Unfortunately, first ball knocked down 3. 9, we're at 46. The high here is a 133. The low is in the 80s, 81. Depending on YouTube compression, you probably can see the singles and the triples there, while maybe not the tiny numbers. Singles are 133, 124, and 119. And the triples are a lot closer, 329, 321, 319. That being said, all of a sudden, all the other chats not there. There were a bunch of them. Now all there is James, hello, and Two Left Feet Dancer, which also hello. I don't know where all the other comments went. I decided I didn't know this would be on live. I've been waiting for another basement day, and well, here it is. Usually it's the American holidays. I think the next one is 4th of July, which happens on the 4th of July. Barring any sudden family events, good or bad. I normally don't do Easter, now that I think about it, but it was an unusual, odd family event that happened on that day, so odd things could happen. Like things we haven't done as a family before, suddenly we do. So 4th of July is planned to be next. So let's continue. First game, frame 6. Well, if it hit the 5 pin, it was possible, believe it or not. And a lousy 7. Twisted Whiskers. Your comment literally disappeared. You know what? It seems whenever the YouTube has screwed things up so royally. All right, there seems to be an issue with chat where if they go off the screen, they're gone. That's not how they are supposed to work. Yeah, so there is a chance if you're leaving comments that I may never see them. Because, per usual, if it ain't broke, YouTube tries to fix it anyway. Frame 7. Well, the one on the right is the best way to go because you got the piece of wood that's almost facing us and can scoot to the left. Whereas the one on the left will easily take care of just those two. Would help to be able to hit object. Get 9. I love they say, oh, now it's deciding to kind of work. What about me? Chucksters, I am not sure. It depends on overtime at work. Yes, I actually did do that, the change from top to live, and I did it multiple times. It seems to be scrolling now, but still, whoever was 4 comments up is off screen. Leave it to Google to mess anything up that works. Framing. Alrighty, 10. Alright, at least we're not getting the low. I mean, it's still kind of possible even here. Frame 9. And another lousy 7. No. Got it wrong. Yeah, I are good at math. Well, I fix the score sheet. There's going to be an obvious blemish. Alrighty. Yeah, Spider decided to make their home up there behind the wall. Alright, final frame. Need 2 to tie the low, which is 81. Alrighty. Alrighty. So the final frame ends with El Stinko the bonus ball. Let's see what it will give us. Well, it leaves the Starlight 5. Again, a re-rack before give you the final. Alrighty. Seven, 9, 10, 7, 5. So we had a few lousy frames and we got a 94. All right, time to check what exists of the comments. Well, it seems to actually be going to the point where it was just rejecting comments once they go off the screen. Now it's actually doing what it should. No, never played golf with your friends. So that's the first game. Time for game number 2 of 5. And I repeat myself because people jump in and out of these live streams. After game 5, it's the high-low mega jackpot. 1 ball, the 1-7-10. 50 cents on the line from TNC Bank and Trust. And for that, we start game 2. Well, we got a better start than the first game. All right, frame 2. That was interesting. All right, so we want to hit the front piece of wood that just moved. I'm going to have to try fancy here. Try to hit it on the very right, see if things happen. Well, good news is things happen. Bad news is that I was a few inches too far to the right, but it worked. Just like the first game, third frame had a mark. Second frame has a mark. Now third frame has El Stinko, the bonus ball. Thanks for the leave. It's actually makeable. But extremely hard. I think twice ever I actually did it. Once without wood. The 10's a nice way to round it out. Finally, it was like freezing outside. Now the breeze is picking up to bring in the normal nice air we should be having late May. Frame 4. Two ways to play it. I'm going for the direct route. And failed. Another 10. A third 10 will give us a microwave turkey dinner. Of course, a spare would even be nicer. And the miracle of a strike, which, of all the games we play here, as you can see, has only happened 3 times ever. I'm going to have to try to play fancy with the 6-pin on the right. That was going to be ball 3. And a microwave turkey dinner to round out the first half. All right, halftime report. 8, spare, 10, first ball knocking down 6. But it's 3 10s, a microwave turkey dinner. We're at 54. And Blue Venom, hello to you. Yeah, now it seems the comments are working. However, everything before the point of no return is gone and lost forever. And I mean, one of them, it actually shows up partially, but you can't scroll to it. So there was a point I was getting comments, and if it goes off the screen, there was no way of going back to read them. But it seems that things are working, which was weird that it was doing that to begin with. Number 6 for game number 2. Well, as Dennis Nuzzo says, less into more, because if you knock less into particularly the 9-pin, the 9-pin could fall in a way to domino the other 3. Or do nothing. Oh, you got an 8 out of it. Alrighty. Frame 7. Eight is great. Frame 8. a niner. All right, frame 9 for game 2. We gotta wait for the wood to settle down. Gotta hit the front piece on the left. Maybe things will happen. Or should I hit it on the right? I'm gonna hit it on the left. Maybe it'll fling it into the 3. Oh, it did, but not quick enough. This thing's getting cold to the side. That's half of why it's getting worse. All right, last frame. Yeah, that's why the ball return's harder to keep the balls from derailing. It's slightly, board slightly, leans slightly to the left from the player's view. Now it really does. And I'm looking at it straight on, and yeah, the return's out of line with the lane now. I gotta fix that at some point. Anyway, last frame of game 2. Well, this isn't as bad as it looks. In fact, it's pretty favorable. If I can just hit where the 2 pieces of wood meet next to the 8 pin. And there you go. Get up there. Alrighty. Just like the first game, this one ends with El Stinko the bonus ball. And a 7 fill, which was even better than the last one. All right. So far, we got a 200 double, which means we need a 119 point game to tie the 3rd place triple, and we will show you the scores once I reset. Yeah, the Baltimores can be a 1/4 inch off in any given direction, but I'm better than that. So, 8, 9, 10, spare with a fill, $1.06, 200 double. We need a 119 just to tie the triple for 3rd, which also would tie the 3rd single. So a 119 would do 2 things. So, how's this gonna go? But before we do that, let's see if this is still working, sort of. All right, it is stopping short of when it decided it for it to actually work like it should be. Because I was mentioning in the beginning that the first 10 or so comments for reasons unknown, once they scrolled up, you could never go back to them. But ever since number 11 or so, you can scroll from 11 to the latest. Weird things. And it wasn't the top comment first, because I did try that very first thing. So anyway, game 3. And of course, the high-low mega jackpot after the 5th and final game. Frame 3, ball 1. Oh yeah, this ball return has been yanked way offline. Alrighty, if I can hit the wood on the far right next to the 6 pin, we could probably spare it. Yeah, again, I was a little off target, but it was still enough to do the job. Amazing. Everything I said could make a spare that I did was not exactly on target. Very close, but not quite. In fact, I'll show you that it's getting a little janky. If I line you up with this, it's really hard to. There, I'm in the center of the gutter, and you can see that the ball return isn't in the center, and you can actually see it's towards us. It's coming right back. Yeah, you can see that it's been pulled left. That's always been ever so slightly left leaning, but that's way more than it was. So that needs a little work. It's still functioning, but it's, like I said, it's making it a little harder to keep them from derailing. El Stinko, the bonus ball. Speaking of derailing. And there, straighten you out. Let's see what El Stinko gives us. Well, it gives us Bob Caleri. Well, at least the game starts with a 15. That time going for broke wouldn't matter because it was one pin no matter which one you aimed for. All right, frame 3. Okay. We have to wait for that because if it's in play and it's moving, when we throw, everything is invalid. And a 7. Frame number 4. Now we get an 8. All right, frame 5. Well, this isn't the worst of the 3, but it's not far from it. Gee, how am I going to blow this one? I didn't. Oh, that's the halfway point. So, before El Stinko the bonus ball makes its way down the lane, spare, 8 with a 5, then a 7, then an 8. Now another spare, 48 with El Stinko. Alrighty. We're going to find out, Two Left Feet Dancer, if there is a possibility of, well, if tie the single 119, then the triple will also be 319. So nothing changes, but we tie. Anyway, what's El Stinko? It's Stinkin' Starlight 5. Making the half of 53. Although the left one I tend to have better luck with. Although now that I said that, I'm going to jinx it. Ten helps a little bit. All right, frame 7. Eh, the Starlight 5 I don't like, but we got wood. And the king remains for the 9. Alrighty. Frame 8. Oh, I didn't expect a 10. I was expecting the 9. Yeah. Numbers on the board are going to stay put. Frame 9. And that got stolen. See, in candlepin, the wood not only giveth, but the wood can taketh. Another 10. And final game frame for game 3. And there it is again. Same thing, same pins. Less into more. Alright, this is a sucky frame. actually. Well, I don't have to do any addition. I know what the triple is. And it ain't bad. Alrighty. 10, 9, 10, 10, 8, 100. We had a 200 double. Needless to say, add 100 to that and we get a 300. Since we have gotten 290s and 280s, I think maybe, I think there were some 270s in there. Not bad. Oh yeah, definitely got robbed of the spare there. So once again, okay, we got a very good game number 3. And of course, after the 5th game is the high-low mega jackpot. 1 ball, 1 710. TNC Bank and Trust will pay 50 cents. So let's start game number 4. How appropriate. Ouch. I think I'll try being super fancy. Try to hit the wood on the very far right. Or completely fail. Well, could have had a much worse start. Frame number 2. Now I gotta wait for that to settle down because that could influence the game. There we go. 19. Alrighty, frame number 3. And we can still move the single numbers if things go the way they can. Frame 4. Featuring El Stinko the bonus ball. What will the bonus be? Well, it's not the Starlight 5 this time. But it's the diamond on the left. 6. Well, it looks like it's a 9. Unless I somehow get lucky with this wood. Yeah. midway point. Oh, I left the curtain open. Well, whatever. And an 8. Halftime report. 9, 10, spare 9. First ball knocking down 6, 8, 52. Frame 6. Alrighty. Frame 7, starring El Stenko, the bonus ball. What will this bonus be? That Starlight 5. Well, the left ones are better. For some reason, the ones on the right I can't do very well with. These I have a chance. So L50. 52. 67. Well, 8's better than nothing. Frame 8. Speaking of 8s. And another 8. Frame 9. Hey, we're getting better. Now it's a 9. And final frame for game 4. So 3 of the 4 games ended in a spare. Once again, El Stinkle the bonus ball ends another game. Well, it wouldn't have helped the triple any, but still. Alrighty, it's the high game so far. Alright, let's check. Okay, spare. Then an 8, first ball knocking a 5. Then an 8, then a 9. Spare and a 9 fill, $1.11. So are we looking at the letdown that usually happens? Are we going to have more very close calls to moving a number that hasn't moved in like a year and a half or so? The strike count? Let's find out. Last game, and then the high-low mega jackpot. Frame 1. That's not going to count for anything if we can get them all. Oh, start with an 8. Frame 2. for the two that are angled. The one that's facing us? No. Wrong answer. Wasn't even on target. And a 9. Well, that's a first. One of the pins was almost completely under the gutter in the back there. Frame 2. How does that happen? You throw the ball 16 feet down the lane, hit your object pin, and you get penalized. How does that happen? Only managed to get an 8 out of that mess. And this is the worst game so far. Frame 4. So, frame 4. The gyroscope in that one malfunctioned. Well, another roundabout way of 8. So far, this is living up to the letdown game, which usually is the one. There we go. Definitely could use that. Alrighty. The final halftime. 8-9. Pair of eights and a spare. 43 with El Stink on the bonus ball. And of course, after this game is the high-low mega jackpot. One ball. The 1-7-10. TNC Bank and Trust will pay 50 cents if it's done. And we've done it twice. Skunked it 4 times. And 2 of those 4 were the last 2 times I did it. All right. What's El Stinko going to be? Here it comes. Very stinky leave. 5 fill. Making the half of 48. I'll get a 9 out of that. All right, frame 7. Hold on a second here. All right, frame 7. That wood that's rolling could be pivotal, so we have to wait for it to stop. And it pretty much has. If it was rolling, that would be no good. If it was still, then we threw it, and then it moved, it would still be good. So long as it's not moving when the ball is delivered. And since I know some people ask every now and then, and someone did, I think the last time, is how the pins are typically not able to roll past a certain point onto the lane, which they can, and it rarely does happen, is unlike the other bowling, I believe only candlepin is the only discipline of bowling where the pin plate is a 1/4 inch under the height of the lane, and it is to help prevent the pins from rolling out. And on Watch Me Suck at Bowling, if you look really, really close at where the pin plate meets the lane, you can kind of see a discrepancy in height. It's like if the camera is more on the right hand side of the lane, you'll see that the pin plate seems to be a little more to the right than the left edge of the lane seems to be more. The pin plate would be a little more, appears more to the right. Can I say it right at all? The reason that they don't line up is because the pin plate is lower. Why your view is different. Anyway, let's just get this done. Although now I think that's not even true, because sometimes pin plates are 41 inches, but the lane is 42. So, yeah, whatever. But here and in candlepin lanes, when you see that the pin's rolling forward and just suddenly stops, that's why. 1/4 inch lip. All right, I'm going to whip it at that wood pile. Or completely miss. Just like I missed there for an 8. Damn, I don't even remember why. I was too busy looking at that mess and forgot what the fill is. Well, you know what my rule is there. I think it was 8. I mean, it's not a sanctioned lane, so if we're playing at a real alley and I forgot what it is, I give myself a 0. Phil was a 7. I'll take your word for it. That sounds about right, since I was kind of contemplating that. But if we were playing at a real bowling alley, I would take a 0 because I failed to properly manage scorekeeping. But this isn't real. This isn't regulation. I think the only thing not regulation is the length of the lane. So, all right, 57. All righty. And then the 8. All right, so there's no stinkers, or possibly every game is 90 and higher. All right, frame 9. Yeah, so unlike a regulated place, anyone who sees the fill like you did, I'm going to normally give myself 0. Frame 9. Oh, that was kind of interesting. And the gyroscopes keep the head pin up. Here's a point where sometimes that lip does not help. Eight is great. So nothing is under 90. All right, final frame, and then the high-low mega jackpot. And again, I left the thing open, whatever. Will we win 50 cents? after we finish this final frame for the final game. All right, in this case, I am going to just give you the score now. So the 94 from game 1 is the low ball. Everything else is 3 digits. So we got a 9, 7, pair of 8s, and a 10, another 100. So there's the low of the day, 94, 106, 100. The high, $1.11 and 100. And now it's time for the Mega Low Jackpot. The high-low Mega Jackpot. So let's get that ready to go. I know the visual effect won't work too well because it's a nice sunny day. 4th of July, it'll be dark when we do this, so it'll be better. It's now time for the high-low Mega Jackpot. One ball, 3 pins. If we can get them all, TNC Bank and Trust will pay 50 cents. And hello, Chris Allen. I think I might have missed you. All right, high-low Mega Jackpot time. Here it is. For 50 cents. Here we go. Well, that didn't happen. So that will be it. Again, here are the 5 scores for today with a triple of 300. And that will be it. George F551 saying, let me count the games here. 10, 20, 30. Let's call it 40, 50, 60, 70, 76, at least 76 games thrown here. And only 3 strikes ever shot. So that will be it for this Memorial Day bowling in the basement. This is George F551 saying, hope you enjoyed and have a good one.